All right, you want to look and sound your best on your live videos or your YouTube videos, or even in your virtual presentations or your virtual meetings. Well, if you're using a computer, I'm going to share 5 types of mics that you can use with your computer to create any of these videos. And they're not all created equal, and they don't all cost the same either. So let's go. Hey, thanks for being here, my friend. My name's Melanie Diane Howe, and maybe you're new to the channel, but I want to welcome you. I love helping people with things like picking out equipment and gear, because so often I see people go out there and they see something that somebody has and they think that that's exactly what they need. And they go and they make an uninformed decision. So hopefully after today's video, you will actually have more information so that you can go figure out what the best option is for you wherever you are in your journey. So let's talk about these 5 options. Here we go. Okay, hear me out, because before we go any further, I do need to make sure everybody understands that none of the products I share with you today or examples I give you, none of those companies have endorsed this, sponsored this. I have bought every single one of these pieces of equipment that I'm going to be talking about today with my own money, so nobody's paying me to do this video at all. Okay, let's get started with the very first and most basic version of a microphone you can use when you're recording or streaming or even in a virtual meeting like Zoom with a laptop or a computer. Now, the very, very basic one is going to be the built-in microphone on your laptop or your computer. Now, as far as computers go, the only time you're going to find a built-in microphone on a computer is usually if it's one of those all-in-one computers where there's no tower. It's like your monitor is your computer. Their Macs have these. There are PCs like this as well. Typically, towers don't have a built-in mic on them, but most laptops, if not all laptops, will have a built-in microphone with them. Now, do you want to use this? In most cases, absolutely not, right? Especially if you're trying to create content for marketing, meaning like a YouTube video or live streaming. This is definitely critical that audio is one of those things that you focus on. So we'll talk about how you can level up that audio in a moment. But if you're just having a virtual meeting or whatnot, the built-in microphone is probably going to be just fine. But usually the built-in microphone is going to sound muffled. It's going to pull in a lot of background noise as well. It might even be a little bit echoey, and it's just not going to give that great audio. So here's what my built-in microphone sounds like. Okay, this is the built-in microphone on a pretty nice laptop. And as you can tell, it still doesn't sound great, but if it's all you have, it's what you got to do. All right, now a step up from a built-in microphone is going to be a wired set of headphones with a mic on them. So you can actually find these. Some of these will be over-the-ear headphones, but a lot of us have a set of these sitting around, whether it be from a while ago or whether it be we just went out and bought a cheap pair, right? But this is actually going to be a pretty significant improvement over just that built-in microphone, because the microphone is going to hang from your ear and it's going to be closer to your mouth. And the traditional rule of thumb is one of the best microphones you can use is the one closest to your mouth. So a lot of these are just going to come with your standard jack. Now, if you're using a particular type of laptop that does not have a regular 3mm jack, you're definitely going to want to make sure you have the right connection or the right converter, which is easy to find at any of your local, big box stores. So let's see what this one sounds like. And now you can hear what a wired set of headphones sounds like with a mic. It doesn't sound great at all, as you can see. So let's talk about some better options you might want to consider. Okay, so the next level up is actually going to be a huge difference, and that is going to be a USB microphone. Now, a USB microphone is simple. It comes with a USB cable, it plugs into your computer, and it's essentially ready to go. I call this plug and play. There's no crazy things you have to figure out or do. Literally, it will work mostly out of the box. Now, some USB microphones will come with what's called companion software, where you can enhance some of the audio settings and do some other things. There's a lot of those. We aren't going to get into that in this particular video, but a USB microphone is actually going to significantly improve the quality of your audio. Now, one thing that's key though is making sure you're using that microphone appropriately. So I have brought my old friend, the Blue Yeti. Now, this is kind of like an antique. This microphone's been around for a really long time, and it sometimes gets a bad name. Now, the reason being is that a lot of people say it doesn't sound very good. This microphone is actually a great microphone. I actually used this microphone for my podcast when I originally launched it. It works really well. However, if you notice, it is really large though. It's a bit bigger than your modern USB microphones. But the reason I'm pointing this out is because with USB microphones, you want to make sure that you know where the recording pattern is coming from. And what happens with a lot of Yeti users is they don't talk into the right part of the microphone based on the setting they have. So make sure, again, that you know the settings for your USB microphone, you know how to properly use it. You can search probably any microphone on YouTube and you will find plenty of demonstrations on how to use the microphone. Now, one other thing to keep in mind when it comes to USB microphones is that there's different types of USB cables. And so your microphone might have an older USB cable where it doesn't require a special port, or it might have a more modern USB cable that requires that USB 3.0, which is actually going to be blue when you see it in the cable. So you need to make sure you match the right port with your cable, with your microphone, or it may not sound quite as well as it should. So if you have a Yeti lying around, it's totally going to work great. It's definitely one of the older USB microphones, still will work great. But if you're in the market for a new microphone, I want to share with you my favorite USB microphone right now is the Elgato Wave 3 microphone. Now you can see here, it's significantly smaller than the Blue Yeti. This thing's a bit big. It's pretty heavy, actually. I'm just going to get it out of the way. So the Elgato Wave 3 microphone is on a boom arm right now. It's also got a mount and a little bit of, it's got this little pop filter on it. None of those things are necessarily required. The microphone will come with a mic stand, just like similar to what the Yeti has there, where literally right out of the box, you can use it. But what I really like about the Elgato Wave 3 microphone is that it comes with companion software that's actually going to act as a virtual audio mixer. However, you don't have to use that if you don't want to get fancy with those things. I definitely don't recommend that for the beginner. That's definitely more of an advanced thing. We won't get into that in this video, but the Elgato Wave 1 or the Elgato Wave 3 are amazing microphones for the price point for sure. They're going to make a huge improvement in your audio quality. All right, now for this one, I'm letting you hear what the Blue Yeti sounds like. So I have it pointed in the right direction. I've got the gain set correctly. And as you can tell, this microphone sounds just fine. So if you have a Blue Yeti, use it. All right, now we're going to listen to the Elgato Wave 3 microphone. Now, I love this microphone. It's very small in profile. It's lightweight. Plug it in. It's ready to go. And as you can tell, it sounds great. I almost forgot. A lot of USB microphones are also going to come with a headphone jack, as you see on the bottom of the Blue Yeti. That's actually a great feature because it's going to allow you to do what's called real-time monitoring, meaning when you talk into your microphone, you are going to hear it in your headphones if you plug them right into the microphone. This is great for podcasting or anything where you need to make sure you can hear your audio as you're speaking into the mic so you can monitor it. It's really a great feature for USB mics. All right, now that we're done talking about USB microphones, let's talk about the next kind of microphone, and that is the XLR microphone. Now, the XLR microphone uses a little bit of a different setup. So it is going to require not only an XLR cable, it's also going to require an XLR interface. So for example, there's a Rodecaster Pro, very, very popular, especially for podcasters, video creators, and streamers, but it is a bit expensive. Now, another interface that's very popular is the Wave XLR, also made by Elgato. Now, again, none of these brands are endorsing this video. These are just some of the better products on the market that are well vetted by streamers and video creators. Now, the Wave XLR is significantly cheaper, but it's not as robust in features. So do your research, think about what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be creating, and it'll help you make the right decision. Again, I highly recommend YouTube. I'm not going to get into all those recommendations or how you can decide in this video, but I definitely wanted to cover the difference between the USB mic and an XLR. Now, your XLR microphones do tend to run at a bit of a higher price point, but there are some really affordable options on the market. Now, one of which is the Rode Pod Mic. This thing is heavy. It's so heavy for the size of it, but I mean, you could hit somebody with this thing and hurt them. Watch out. But here's the deal. The XLR is going to actually have this XLR input. That's the biggest difference between these. Now, these are the same types of cables and connections that musicians use. So, when they're on stage and they're wired with a microphone, it's all the same type of cables. So you can actually find a lot of these supplies at your local guitar centers or maybe even your music stores if you have one in your area. So you're going to need the mic. You're going to need a way to mount it, which a lot of them don't come with mounts or mic stands because they're expecting you to mount it to an arm. So similar to the one I have here, which which this is also an XLR microphone as well. This is the Shure MV7. Now, this is an exceptional microphone. I absolutely love it. It's very affordable for the quality that you get. And the bonus is that you can actually use it as a USB mic and then upgrade to XLR later if you want. So what you're hearing right now is absolutely an XLR microphone. It is going to have a richer sound. Now, XLR microphones don't come with companion software. You have to have an interface or a virtual audio mixer if you want to make adjustments to the audio or the equalizer of the mics. Now, that's one of the benefits of a lot of these modern USB mics is that they can be updated, they can be upgraded through firmware updates and even companion software that can get added to those. So that's something to think about. Now, the other thing is that the USB mics, there's beauty in simplicity. As I said, you plug it in, it's ready to go. But a lot of podcasters and a lot of video creators, they want that really rich sound, which can only many times be achieved in an XLR microphone, but it does require more hardware, extra cables, and a little more expense. Okay, you've made it to the home stretch. We're about to talk about the fifth and final version of a microphone that you can use on a laptop or PC. Now, if you found this video helpful so far, you're still watching, do me a favor, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's going to be awesome. All right, now for the fifth and final version, and then we'll talk about pricing. The fifth version is no wires at all. That's right, folks. You can actually use wireless items like this cool PC gaming headset with the microphone right here, or maybe a set of Apple AirPods or other wireless earbuds that you might have on hand. However, there's something I want you to understand when you're thinking about using these. A lot of times the audio quality isn't gonna be great. I know, so disappointing, right? Because isn't it so nice to just not have to worry about all these attachments and gear and all the things? There are some cases where I will absolutely recommend you use a wireless device, like when you need to be able to use your hands and you can't be attached to anything. Maybe you're doing a cooking demo, you're doing a fitness demo. Those are great situations where a wireless mic set is actually going to serve you. However, there are other wireless mic sets outside of these regular, just everyday listening types of devices that you might want to consider. The Rode Wireless Go, there's a Cinco has another set as well. These are actually geared towards video creation. So if you're going to go that route, I would definitely recommend you go with something that is truly intended for video creation. Now, if we're just talking about Zoom calls and virtual meetings, no big deal. Again, a set of these is going to be just fine, but don't be surprised if you're disappointed in the quality of your audio because, again, typically they just don't sound as great. They just don't. There's just, I don't know how else to put it, to be honest with you. So just try not to if you don't have to, right? The only other disadvantage to these types of devices is that they are powered by battery. And sometimes the batteries can die when you're not expecting it. And the worst thing that would happen to you is when you're on a live stream and your audio goes out because the battery died, either because you were live streaming longer than you expected or because simply you didn't remember to recharge it. It happens. I've seen it. I've done it. Are you ready to be disappointed? These are actually a nice set of wireless earbuds, and this is what it sounds like. It does not sound great. I hate this because it would be so awesome to be able to use wireless earbuds, but in the end, they really just aren't made for this type of production. All right, let's talk about budgets before I let you go so that you have a little bit more information so you can make some decisions. So obviously your built-in microphones, there's no extra expense. It's already in there. Your wired headsets are very cheap as well, anywhere from $10 to, I wouldn't probably spend more than $50 on a set of wired headphones. But make sure that it does have a microphone and you have the appropriate jack. You might need to buy an adapter to make it fit your device. Now, talking about USB microphones, there are USB microphones on the market that are pretty decent quality for only $50. And again, these are going to be a significant improvement over the last two that we just talked about. But also, you can spend upwards to $300 almost these days on a USB microphone. But what I would say here is do your research. If you're looking for a USB mic, get one that is modern and more recently created. So again, I talked about the Blue Yeti. I wouldn't recommend you buy the Blue Yeti because you can buy a newer USB microphone like the Elgato Wave 1 for essentially the same price. But Beacon is a new upcoming product as well that's coming out with a awesome USB microphone you might want to consider. So do your research, read the reviews, do some YouTube stuff and see how they sound and you'll be able to make an informed decision. Now, when it comes to XLR microphones, as I mentioned, these vary quite a bit. You can actually buy an XLR microphone like the Rode PodMic that I showed you for $100. That's a pretty good price for a really good microphone. However, you are going to need those additional accessories like the interface and the cables. Cables can run anywhere from $10 to $50. The interfaces can run anywhere from about $130 up to $600 for that Rodecaster Pro that I mentioned. So if you're looking for a basic setup, you can actually get away with for your setup for about $350 total, all in. Now, you're going to want to be informed here as well because there are lots of XLR microphones on the market. I highly recommend a fellow YouTuber. His channel is called Podcastage. He does amazing reviews. He's reviewed almost all microphones on the market, especially the popular ones, and he gives a really good opinion about all of them. And so if you're looking for some place to get a trusted opinion, go check out Podcastage, his channel. I'll link to it down below as well. And there you have it. Those are the 5 types of microphones that I wanted to talk about that you can use with your computer when you're live streaming, when you're recording videos, or even just using them in virtual meetings so that you can sound the best. Now, these sometimes come into play for virtual presentations, and I will tell you, audio is a really important feature. So many people focus on the cameras and the camera quality, and I have a separate video for that, but audio really is critical. So as you're getting started, if you're in that starting point, look at your audio first, then you can look at your camera equipment to upgrade later. Now, I'm going to include links to some of the products that I talked about as well as some others down in the description of this video. Now, many of these are affiliate links of mine, and anytime you buy through one of those links, you are supporting the channel, and I greatly appreciate you for that. All right, my friends, again, if you're not already subscribed, I'd super duper appreciate you to subscribe so that you know when I go live, as I live stream every week and talk about live video, marketing, content strategies, and all kinds of other hootenannies. So hopefully I'll see you there one day. For now, I'll see you later.